Hi all, this is day 79 of my HCS prep, a journey for 2027 attempt, and I've studied folk lecture yesterday of OS and I have not recorded any video. I was going through the example I did not understand yesterday, so I make myself understand through Claude. So, I'm going to explain only one basic example of fork. What is fork? Why fork in US OS? There are a lot of example also, but for now I'll be explaining only one. So you can see I've taken this small example of for loop where I is running from I equal to 1 to less than or equal to 3. That's a basic for loop, and inside that fork process is calling. So basically fork doubles the process, original process, okay, doubles the total number of process, that is fork. And why fork in operating system? So without fork you cannot run simultaneously the task or process. Multitasking, like fork is the heart of multitasking in OS. Without fork only you can run one task at a time, but with fork you can run multiple tasks simultaneously. That's a basic, that's why the fork uses. So definitely if you do multiple process simultaneously, then it fastens the speed of any task. There are a few real-time examples also. Web server, 1,000 users visit site, and simultaneously server forks 1,000 child process to handle each user separately. There is Apache web server which forks the child process to handle each user separately. Then there is real-time example called shell terminal. So without fork, if you run let's say ls command, and once ls command is executed, then that terminal dies. Okay, you need to again open the terminal. But with fork you don't have to open the terminal again and again. For next command, once first command is ran successfully, terminal won't die, you can run the next command. That's the same thing I have written here. Then there is formula for finding total number of processes in fork, which is 2 raised to n. N would be the number of processes, all the including child, parent, all the processes. Why base is 2? Because fork doubles the process, fork double each process, so that's why 2 is there in base in the formula. And child process, formula for child process is 2 raised to n minus 1, subtracting 1 because we are only calculating child process, not the, that's why we are subtracting the parent one. That is the formula for child process, which is 2 raised to n minus 1. So this example, let's go back to the example of fork. What is it creating? So I equal to 1. So we have originally one process which you can call parent process, and after fork it would be parent and child 2 process now, p and c1, that I have 2 process exist now for I equal to 1 now. And both p and c1 continue loop from I equal to 2. So if fork would have not been there in the for loop, it would run for the normal for loop, but since fork doubles the process, so p and c1 would also exist for the next iteration for I equal to 2. So 2 process calls fork. When child created, it inherits loop variable I from parent, so child comes for I loop. Basically I loop variable I from parent, it inherit from parent. p and c1 also would exist for I equal to 2 iteration. You can see here for I equal to 2, 2 process calls fork. 2 process calls fork, they are p and c1. So for c1, against c2, c1 would be surviving, and c3 would newly born process, and for p would survive and c2 would newly born process. So now 4 process would be there for I equal to 2. Similarly, for I equal to 3, there would be how many? 8 processes, because for original parent p and c4, c1 would be there, then newly born c5 for c2 and c6 for c3 and c7. So that's how 8 process would be there after one fork in this loop. And I think I have covered rest of the thing, like what is the fork, why fork in OS, their formula, and this basic example. I'm going to like cover the rest of the example also. I thought I should cover this because I got little not confused, but um, I wanted to make it clear from the start, from very basic for fork, because now the real concept of OS has started actually. So I'm taking very small examples and explaining because it would help me also. And I hope it should help to people also who are watching this. So this is the fork first example. I hope you guys would understand this and it would help you also. So yeah, thank you for watching it.